smoke keeps going, so I'll do my best so you can hear me. But I'm not my best vocal today. The first item is, as usual, so apologies for the absence, and for looking around the table, we have none. Here. Yeah. If any councillors got any personal or precious interest in the item on the agenda? No? Okay. And the next item is obviously to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd of December. These have been circulated to all councillors. Has anyone got any further comments on them before we approve them?
No.
So can we have a show of hands as to whether it's a second? The next point is obviously the public participation. So if anyone from the public has anything they'd like to, anything they'd like to raise, discuss the council, please.
A reminder, I raised an issue about 2 months ago, down Green End Street, opposite Ginger's Farm. There's a utility pole with no lamp fitting on it, and there's a huge black spot down that road where the dog pooers, I think, congregate. I asked if everybody should be considerate at the last meeting. I don't know if there's a decision to be made. The pole's there, and I expect the power's there. It just needs a fitting, which has never been there.
Sorry, where's that, Keith?
Exactly opposite the entrance to Ginger's Farm.
Yeah.
Nearby Chapel Close.
So is it on the Ginger's Farm side?
No, it's the opposite side. They're all on the opposite side of the road.
Got you, okay.
I said opposite.
Yeah, sorry.
It's just always been left, I suspect, because they thought the Chapel Drive lights would do the job, but they don't, because they're Easter ones.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a black, you just walk down there now and you see the black spot, and I think it's worth filling in. Please.
We'll look at that. We're looking at a whole programme of replacements and upgrades. We'll have that now.
Just a compliment, really, that I don't think the park's ever looked so good. It's obviously being cared for brilliantly, and I think the works are improving and looking after it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I concur with that.
That wasn't what you were going to say, was
No.
it? What were you going to say?
Well, just down the end, on the main road on the opposite side to the Bell Inn, there's a car which, to my mind, could well have been abandoned. Somebody else has seen it.
I've seen it.
I don't know what it's the ED11 FFT. But
yes, I know. Is it opposite Bell? I thought it was.
It's a bit further up the road.
it's not exactly opposite the Bell.
Doesn't it have a note inside on the steering lock?
Yes,
I haven't read it, but
Isn't outside Margaret
No,
Place?
No,
It's not
No,
the one.
that's far
It's
on.
not the one with the note on. It's not the one.
not that one.
Oh,
Not the one with the note on. It's nearer to the corner than that. You can see where the street cleaner's gone
I
sort of
see.
round.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
It's
Okay.
But that's an English one.
it's a Renault, I think. But
Can you give us the registration number again,
yes,
please?
ED11
Yeah,
FFT.
double FT, thank you.
And it hasn't been, it's only been moved since before
Yeah,
Christmas, and it's all grotty on there. Can I bring one on?
Yeah, we'll look into it and see what we can do
Thank
about
you.
getting it removed. Thank you.
Up on Upper Icknield Way, where the somebody has this memorial thing. It's the rubbish spread both sides of it. They ought to be made to clear it up, I think.
I don't know.
Alan Thorne.
Okay, you know who it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who it
I don't know
is.
who it was.
Years ago.
It's been there months and months. It's about time they stopped, really. But people have funny
Are
ideas.
you referring to the one where it's been there for donkey's years and they've suddenly started putting stuff on it? Or is there another one that we don't know about?
It's opposite the lane.
It could be. It's
Yeah,
opposite the
that's
lay-by.
that
It could have been there donkeys years. I don't know.
Yeah, it has been. It is definitely who I think it is. I can't understand why, because his mum doesn't live here anymore. But Henry,
I don't know, but it's. I suspect the gale hasn't helped, but they ought to clear it up.
okay.
Alec.
Madam Chairman, my concern, and it's shared by a number of other residents in Green End Street, is the danger to the children, well, everyone in fact, posed by contractors' lorries coming to and from the Chapel Drive site, particularly when the children are arriving at the school and leaving in the afternoons. Many of these drivers drive far too quickly, and although I understand the parish council hasn't got any jurisdiction over traffic regulations and such like, but you do have moral authority, and I strongly urge that you write a letter on parish council notepaper addressed to the site manager at this Bellway site, pointing out the serious danger to life, particularly because of the children, and requesting that perhaps they make some arrangements with their drivers, both delivering to and going from, to avoid the times when the children are being delivered and collected, and also to restrict their speeds. It's a matter of myself and other people in the Green End Street area believe this to be a matter of urgency.
I have had a word with the site manager, not specifically on what the point you raised, but previous to about the school, saying that it's not a good time to arrive there from sort of around about the 8 o'clock period, for the traffic was of all the school children picking up, and he said they had advised the drivers to either get there early, which of course is what they then do, they get there very early and then park further down the road and wait until the site opens, which is 7:30. So it has been mooted to him. He is aware of the school run and he does try to avoid it. The only thing I haven't said to him is about the speed, because I wasn't aware of that.
Yes.
But he is aware that they shouldn't be there, but it's better for him if they're not, for the simple reason that the trucks can't get through at that time. So he does know about that 2 periods in the day.
Yes,
where he
it's
shouldn't
just,
be there.
I don't think it would do any harm to...
No, I can go and
repeat-
see him again. I mean, I
think-
do
I
pop
think
in to see him.
repeat the
from time to
warning,
time.
I think a letter
It's probably better.
is sensible as well, because it shows that we're taking it
It's on
seriously.
record, if nothing else. If someone does get knocked over
Yeah.
or injured,
I agree.
then it is on record.
It's on record, we've done something, and we can reference the conversation as well, to show that we've done something about it.
Could I just ask about the clock? It must have been mentioned lots of times, the school clock.
They're coming out on Friday, Mr. Sharp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got an appointment on Friday.
Oh, yeah, keep it at 6 o'clock.
Myself
And just one other point, you talked about developers. I don't know whether you can get in touch with Taylor Wimpey and ask them if they're going to make the verge good up Stablebridge Road, and also could they sweep the path, because people walking up and down to Green Park, the lorries come out the site, they go over the path, all the way over on the path, so perhaps a word from the council might influence them to do something.
Just in addition to what the gentleman has just said, Chairman, the chapel development plus the Brook Street development, where they've chopped the trees down without permission or whatever they did there, and the other development the gentleman mentioned, there is mud everywhere, and they are supposed to, as part of the safe working or whatever they sign charter, they all agree to, these builders and developers. They sweep the roads, and that's being done, I understand, every day, but they don't wash the wheels down of the lorries as they leave the site, and they're supposed to do that. So what happens is they go in, collect a load of mud on the site, and then drive it all out onto the roads, which then makes slippery roads. It's a mess. And the sweeping lorry does come along, but I think it's so compressed into the tarmacs and paths that it's not effective. So they are meant to, as part of the charter that they sign up to with everybody, councils and everybody else, and highways, they're meant to hose the wheels down of the lorries before they leave.
Well,
So I don't think that's being done
can I
regularly.
suggest we add a paragraph of the letter to people in Chapel Drive about that, and then
Yeah, I'll pop in and see him as well.
and we contact Staplebridge Road and on the same, because I have seen that mentioned a few times on, I think everything else included or something.
As I might say, there's one caution on that. All these drivers are on so much money per trip, and the faster they do their trips, the more money they get. It's regrettable, but we have to acknowledge that that happens. Paying a fat salary just isn't is none, but that's the root of some of it. It's still like a cat's out of hell.
Yes, Josie.
The planning application for the 93 houses on Aylesbury Road is still not there.
No, we
It
have,
was
I think
up
we
for
have
one
contacted.
day. I did phone Aylesbury Planning because my letter of objection on email and by letter was not shown. Anyway, I spoke to a lady called Diane on there and it's now up, but there's still no planning application. Is it by law that they have to publicly put that
Yes,
up?
it is. It's a
I
bit
spoke to them today. I spoke to them today, and they weren't aware of it. They say, and they're going to put it back up.
I phoned them before Christmas because my objection wasn't on the website.
Okay, I spoke to Claire.
Great.
Claire, she's the case officer, and she's assured me that it will go back up. And then
And I'm wondering if I'll get any reduction on my council tax with the crushing site opposite me. It's getting bigger and bigger.
We've been talking about that, but obviously I don't live so far away and I've been hearing the noise very early in the morning, and there's quite a lot of dust. Like I said, there's quite a wonderful pile of dust which wasn't there before. So I'm pretty sure we
I've
as a
been
council.
clearing the road of the bricks
Yeah.
and the blocks and the signs.
We've had a number of
each
people
time
who've
I'm
said
up there.
things. Yes, Connie.
Can I ask Carol, has this, am I correct in saying that Bill Chappell is taking this up on our behalf?
Yes, the enforcement sort of falls between us because the waste disposal is Bucks County Council, but it's the change of use of the site to crushing,
Right.
which will be ABDC. The enforcement officers have been out, and I think they were just given a good tail, if I can put it that way. And so I have asked them to go out again, but I will chase that up tomorrow, both Bucks County Council and ABDC.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Chairman. Carol, do they need a minerals licence to carry out that activity?
Well, that would be county, wouldn't it?
Yes,
Minerals
I think
license,
Do you think they need a licence to crunch?
It's more about the planning aspect rather than because
Yeah.
they're not breaking the ground.
Change of use.
Minerals would be if they're breaking the ground.
I believe so, yeah. I think we were right.
Yeah, I think we have done early on. I think we do that a long time
Did we
ago.
write a formal letter? I can't remember.
Mr. O'Connor.
No, to ABDC.
No, because I believe that we thought Councillor Chappell was dealing with it.
He is,
Right.
yeah. Peter
Yes.
was in communication.
Yeah, there has been communication between the parish and Bill Chappell, so I don't know what another
And
letter
tomorrow I was
is.
just going to email Councillor Chappell just to ask progress where we're at, with that.
Yeah, you can maybe raise the point that sentiment in the village is rising.
Yeah.
Can the signs not be taken down that are all along there for different prices, different trees, different everything that's all along there? I don't think it looks very nice entering Aston Clinton.
I agree.
It looks worse than a gypsy site now.
Mike?
Quite hard, isn't it?
You to all the travellers in the room. Is it field? Have we established ownership is still with Mr. O'Connor?
No,
Because
no,
I
it's
don't
not.
believe it is anymore.
No.
is
He
it?
rents it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he owns the company he rents it from.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He owns it really,
Yeah.
but on paper he doesn't.
Just a small note. Everybody's aware that the fire brigade were there the other day. Two pumps putting out everything.
Can somebody clarify what date
What
that
date it
was?
was?
Oh God.
You were asked what date it was. weren't you?
Yes, and we can't on Facebook.
It was on Facebook.
It was on New Year's Eve, wasn't it? New Year's
Yeah.
Eve or New Year's
It was
Day?
one day last week.
Should I just scroll back up to Facebook?
Yeah. There was two pumps down there.
What can we do about the signs?
The signs are on his land, aren't they?
No, still need to advertise it.
They're on the
Advertising
verge.
consent.
Yeah. Hasn't got permission.
Because when Cars to Go had them at the front there, they were soon sat on.
There's transport for bucks, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, but
They normally just go along and cut the damn things up.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
I've laid them down, some of them actually.
you need planning permission for signage.
But I think beyond these hedges is the highway anyway, isn't it?
It's a moot point. Between the footpath and the road, okay, where the services travel
Yeah.
is Bucks County Council. And the footpath, that's also Bucks County. From the footpath to the hedge, that is the bit you can never pin down as to who owns it.
Still requires consent.
Probably,
For
yeah,
advertising.
you're right. It's not his land, that's for sure. So,
At the top end, up by the nursery, the ditch has been filled in with rubble. And the ditch...
What, by the road, by the access road to the nursery?
Yes.
So it's widening the access road.
Well, the gates are there, but to Aston Clinton's side of it, there's a lot of concrete and rubble and tiles and everything in there, quite a distance of filling in a ditch that's meant to be for the water course.
Yeah.
But somebody else might have dumped it there.
I don't think you can just pick on that site though, because there are signs on the other side of the road as well.
Which I was about to say
I
that.
think we need to
Be consistent.
be consistent.
But at least they're tidy.
But they're still
I
there
agree,
with, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't pick on one person just because we
Yes.
reject his field in general. Not saying the parish can't, but the village does. I mean, if we're going to say anything, we have to also mention fruit and veg people. They may have planning permission, I don't know.
could we just not deem it as signage along the Aylesbury Road? And leave it at that,
Yeah.
rather than specifying exactly where, yeah?
Yeah, yes, we could do that, yeah. Of course we could, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, just make it a general comment about general signage. Yeah.
The fire was on the 30th of December, on a Wednesday.
Yeah, 30th of December, the fire.
Oh, thank you.
So it's Callie. Anyway.
Two things really. One is our pavements, Bucks Highway, or is it Parish Council's responsibility?
Transport for Bucks.
Is it? Okay. Because if you go down Rosebery Road, the pavement's on the right hand side as if you're heading towards a shop. They're in a hell of a state, but also the grass verges where they park on them, some of them are in a horrendous state. All the grass is churned up. It's just full of mud and puddles and everything. So, I don't know, are they responsible for that as well?
I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah, they are responsible for that, and your best bet there is to go to Transport for Bucks website,
Yeah.
and if you can photograph the offending footpath
Yeah.
and the damage, you'll find on their website a place to upload it, and they should send down, I can't think of the term that they apply to the site, because they're sort of like a local community liaison guy.
Yeah.
And he will come down and report to you and put it on the website as well. And as far as I know, it works quite well if you do that.
Yeah.
Let us know if you don't get any
Yeah.
joy, but it's not us, the footpath.
If you want to also photograph it and email it to me, I will also...
It's the whole, what it is, they did one side completely a while ago now, which is brilliant. The other side, the whole of that footpath that runs from Beechwood Way, that runs all the way round Rosebery, past the shop, the whole of that footpath is breaking up and it's in hell, you know, it just needs taking up and relaying again,
Yeah.
basically.
Photograph the worst bits.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Okay.
And go to their website. You've got my email. If you've got any trouble
Yeah.
with it, give us a shout.
All right, okay.
So they haven't got any money, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they have to prioritise now for next year, so it's a good time to try and get in on that.
Okay, thank you.
Have we got any other comments from the public? Okay, can we move on now to the clerk's report and correspondence.
Right, the correspondence folder's doing its rounds. Susie's got that. I'll pass that on to you. Right, we're very pleased to report that our multi-use games area, Mugger, is finished, all but the markings, which will go down in the spring. And there were people playing on it before the fencing even came down, so it was well used over the Christmas holidays. Over the coming weeks, the new signage will go in at the park entrance, as will the new access pathway, which is going from the car park down to the Mugger, to the skate park and around past the copse to the beach. And this will mean access for pushchairs, wheelchairs and mobility scooters. which will open up a whole new range of opportunities for wheelchair sports and just general access for families for everyone to come and enjoy the park. Also on that note, councillors Wyatt, Beaumont and Osborne are working on extending the facilities in the children's play park to provide for disabled children to play alongside able-bodied children, and are currently in discussion with suppliers as well as applying for funding. In the longer term, they're looking to replace some of the older equipment and focus more on the preschool age group. So that's looking ahead. Looking back, our Santa Float was a huge success and raised £1,156.50 for the Rennie Grove Hospice, the Guides and the Scouts, and this broke last year's records, and thank you to all who helped and all who donated to that. And we've got plans for this year to do 2 evenings. So we need Santa.
Need another Santa.
No, Santa will be finding
He
it
likes
twice.
the one Santa.
We like the same. He was a very good Santa.
Very good Santa. We've increased his job description.
Santa's thinking about going to Cornwall this year.
Meanwhile, the amount of rain continues to make the park muddier than usual, and this always presents a challenge, as does the increase in dog fouling. The council will be looking at further measures to limit this, and we will be grateful if you could complete our survey regarding the placement of new dog bins, which we're looking at for the next financial year. That survey has also now gone live onto the websites for people to fill in and download and send to us. Get some feedback from the village on that. And it's also going in Village Life, isn't it, Alec? It's a question.
Tentatively, yes.
Tentatively, right. In the meantime, we've had our contractors undertake some major clearance work in the park. The wooded area off London Road, that way, and the boundary and the perimeter with Green Park have all been cleared right back, which was opened up the park beautifully. So this is the time of year when we plan for and budget for next year. And we hope that the village can see the hard work that has gone into the council's work this year and that it presents value for money. We have lots to do in the coming years, including building the new community centre, and we look forward to tackling those other areas of parish council responsibility.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, may I just say about the Santa Float? Are we going to send a thank you letter to Colin Lane for the use of his vehicle, and maybe a little thank you gift or something?
We gave him a
gift. We gave him 2 bottles of wine.
Excellent. Okay.
Both
Wonderful.
The signage is going up. What's happening about the Catherine Park signs that they put up?
Shall I answer that? The intention is to retain them, because when we agreed to let them the space, we agreed to offer them the signage that was occupied previously by the hub. They put the signage up, which we've seen. Some people like it, some people don't. I think when the sighting of the park, which is under wraps there, of our own wooden signing is placed, then I think we need to assess how it sits. But I think the idea is that the 2 signs
coexist.
Yes, and the one that's currently, if you're standing on the other side of the street looking, so there's not too much clutter on the left. That is the one that we would talk to the cafe about removing. So they have the one on the right, because we are going to then put the smaller multi-sign where the current old sign is. There's a small upright sign. So we will add 2 new signs and hopefully remove one of those.
Okay, thank you.
We move now on to the Finance and Staff Committee report. Susie.
The month-end report for December, it's been emailed round to you. We've reviewed it in our committee. Was there any other questions from anybody else on it?
slacking down, I think.
I'm aware of a few.
Okay, so approval for expenditure and payments to be agreed. So I'd like to propose to agree that the clerk can pay the outstanding invoices.
Okay, show of hands, please. Yeah, that's good.
Right, and the second one, as we said, it's planning for next year, and our recommendations have been emailed round what we recommend the precept to be. As we found, it's been a steep learning curve this year, and we're obviously still going on that. But with all the extra work that we've been doing, trying to get things up to the standard that they need to be, and to continue that work, we feel that the budget that we're proposing here is going to encompass that to continue.
Okay, I read that, and we're still proposing a 6 to 7% increase from the precept. Is that what I gather?
Yes. So it works out at about £1.37 per month per household.
Okay, well, I reiterate my comment I made during the email from the public that I felt the initial increase last year, which was vast, was due to the inclusion in the precept of the money for the neighbourhood plan, of which we have not spent that much. We've also got 2 additional grants for that as well that have gone into the council's funds. So I feel we've used that money towards the council, not strictly towards the neighbourhood plan. And there was an outcry in the village last year when that went up 20-odd%. And my feeling is that an increase of 6% on that, I don't agree with. That's my view.
Any other views?
Any other comments?
I think in real terms, we're equating to £1.37 per household per month, and we've already heard feedback around what's happening around the park and the increased focus actually on the community and getting it not only to a standard that we'd like it to get to, but maintaining that standard as well, and the future projects that we have in line for the village. When we're looking at the grand scope and the political environment where we have local authorities cutting back left, right and centre, I think if we have capacity to, and we can gain agreement for a moderate increase, which in percentage terms is significant, but in reality equates to a nominal amount for maintenance and improvement of facilities when everyone else is cutting back left, right and centre. I think it's something we should actually take pride in doing, and I fully support it.
Okay, any other points or comments not to make? Paul?
Yeah, I concur with what Councillor Osborne just said. I mean, this council's got no savings at all, which is unusual for a parish, for a largish parish council. Certainly town and parish, big parish councils have savings normally. Certainly my previous council, we had a considerable rainy day fund for maintenance and unexpected expenditure on buildings and assets and so on. So this council has inherited a balance sheet with no savings whatsoever, which is a very risky and dangerous thing. If, as I say, if something happens, we don't really have anything to fall back on. So I support the budget that's been put forward.
Okay, thank you. Alan?
Yes, I'd just like to concur with that. And I think the difference this year is the feedback I've been getting, very much of what's been heard today, is that there's a feel-good factor in the village that hasn't existed for a long, long time. And people can see that things are happening. But these things cost money to happen. And the investment we've made in reclaiming stuff that's been left abandoned and derelict for years, if we don't maintain that, we've wasted that money. And I don't agree with wasting money. I think the maintenance will not cost as much as it's cost to achieve it, but we still aren't there yet. But at the moment we have footpaths that are open. This time last year you couldn't walk down half the footpaths in this village. We've got a park that there is a pride in. The people that come here and use it can see the difference. That certainly didn't exist last year. And if we're to capitalise on that and we make this village feel good, and the better the village feels, the better the standards the village achieves. People take a pride in it. They stop throwing their dog crap everywhere. And I think that we're well justified in what we're asking for additional contributions this year.
Thank you very much. Any other points on that? Okay, so we move to a motion on that.
Okay, so I propose to agree the preset demand for the 2016-17.
You have to name the figure.
171.
Was it 171? Which one? 176. Yeah. So £176,702.
Who'll second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, can we have a show of hands in support or against? Against? Thank you. Anything else for the finance and staff issues? Can we move on to the planning committee then, Colin, please?
Yeah, sure. Okay, the last planning committee meeting, we've had 2 in December. The first one was held on the 16th.
Sorry.
And all the minor applications were not objected to, apart from the land at Chimneys, where we objected to the dwelling size, but not the actual principle of putting a house in that thing. All these are still to be determined by AVDC. There's a 15-metre wind turbine that was proposed down there, Parish, so we objected to that. I don't know the status of that. Carol, have you heard about what's happened to that one? Still pending?
Yes, I think it's something I need to
Yeah,
chase
I
up
think
and
it's
let
still
you know.
pending as well, but okay. Brook Farm, that's had an amendment to reserve matters. And we also have a lot of complaints in the village, which is a little corner where the 93 and 91 houses were going. A lot of complaints about that, where the cypress hedge has been cut down, the brook has been disturbed, etc., etc. And a letter of complaint the planning committee sent to AVDC case officer to cease any further because of non-compliance with the planning permission. Their planning permission included keeping that cypress hedge, not disturbing the hedge at the back and the brook, and they've done all 3 things. So I don't know what's happened there, but they got that from us. At the same time, we then had a meeting on the 23rd of December to assess the Park Farm development, which is the one near the church, which I'm sure you're aware of. This was discussed, and the committee voted 3-1 in favour of this development. So the planning committee sent that to AVDC, and it's now on the website. Since then, today in fact, there was a strategic meeting at AVDC for the 50 houses under the number 1501395, which is the land behind 93 Aylesbury Road. And I'm pleased to say that for once they've actually agreed with us. I spoke and a few other people spoke against this, and after a long discussion the committee turned it down. So they have refused planning permission for the 50 houses off Aylesbury Road.
The first one, isn't it?
It's the first one they've turned down, the first large one they've turned down.
Is that the Rectory Homes?
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
That is definitely going to go to appeal.
The very told person who lives at 93, but they're going to appeal it.
So we'll see what happens, but that's in the future. So that's one small victory we've gained, I suppose you could say, is the best for that. On from there, the neighbourhood plan, where everyone is still researching their subjects, writing it up. I'm meeting, and a couple of others are meeting with our consultant tomorrow to thrash out how we're going to present that. And then we have a meeting on the 20th of January, to meet with other consultants to start framing up the questionnaire, which is going to be distributed to everybody in the village. And there's a small article in Village Life about that. And we do expect everyone to do their best to complete that and send it back. Without that, well, we do need it. We need everyone to respond to that. And once that's in, we can start moving forward again on the neighbourhood plan. That's about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Colin. So next, the...
Hang on.
Thank you. On the questionnaire, did we say we were going to knock on doors and collect it?
We haven't, yes, that was the committee's original thought, is that we can get it distributed, but we feel we need to collect as well, because distribution and asking them to post it, I think won't produce the desired result, so we're still doing that. We have funds hopefully available that we can pay for that to be done.
Oh, excellent, thank you.
Any other points on college report? Okay, then move to the report of facilities committee. First part of that sports and recreation, so is Peter doing that?
Sorry?
So we've got the facilities committee, and the first part is sports and recreation subcommittee, which I believe is you.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it's just on the play around the parishes. We basically need to decide if we're going to hold 1, 2, 3, 0 or whatever for the forthcoming year. I gave a brief rundown on the costs. 2 hours 310, 3 hours 335, and 3 hours with sports 430. So you're looking for £300 to £400 for a session. Also got to decide if you do have whatever number, would you want to charge for the mums and dads for the children to take part, or do it as a as a gesture from the council? So that's basically all we've got to do, is decide how many we're going to hold and when. Got the dates here. They start from the Easter holidays, which is very early this year, 28th of March, and they run right through to nearly the end of August on those dates.
I'd like to just suggest that, as last year, we do it in the summer holidays. I think any earlier, given the state of the ground out there anyway, it's not likely to be feasible.
I think 6 of summer holidays, Easter is very early this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
The chance of the weather will still be terrible.
I mean, it goes without saying that it's from Aylesbury Vale, everybody, all the staff are CRB checked, public liability insurance.
How many did we hold last year, Peter? Sorry?
We held 3.
Yeah.
Last year we held 3, and they were much cheaper. They were £200 a go, so that cost us £600.
And how much are they this time, Peter?
Starting at, for a 2 hour session, 310.
310.
Yeah.
I personally feel that to charge the parents would be unfeasible. I just wouldn't be able to manage that for leasing. It would cost more in leasing it than
Assuming that we attract parents along supporting their kids, we're going to get indirect uplift as a consequence of sales through the cafe and things like that anyhow.
That's true. It's
Very
very true.
further justification for not charging.
I agree. I personally don't think we should charge either. I think it's beginning, like Jill, I think it's too complex to do so. Colin?
Well, we're doing the increase in price that Peter's talking about. Are you planning to hold the same number?
That's the spec for debate here, isn't it? As to how many we hold. We as a council have to decide whether we're going to have just the same 3 we had last year, even though it increased our cost by £300, or whether we're going to go just for 2.
Would that be a question for the subcommittee to come up with, or for us?
I think we're trying to decide this today, aren't we? I think
Yeah.
we're trying. I think we need to make a decision today. I think.
Sorry, just as an add on to that, you can have, they are doing a family fun day, which is 5 hours, including sports, but that comes out for them at the moment £710.
I don't know if I'm allowed to kind of give my opinion.
I think you can give your opinion. Yes, I think you can.
I just think we've got so much provision in the park now. We're not like some of the other villages where they really have to do outreach work to get play going, and we don't. We have really good provision already. I don't think it's as crucial for us as some of the smaller outlying villages. There's so much to do here already. I think we could even cut down to 2.
For those that haven't seen, the soft play in the cafe runs every day, 5 days a week. I mean, okay, there's a certain age limit to that, but I agree with Jill that you combine that with the playground and the mugger.
We'll have a picnic site by next summer.
I think there's a lot on offer.
Well, why don't we then, on that, including the fact that we're obviously concerned about costs, and we don't want to increase our costs, our running costs at the moment, because we haven't got huge funds. I mean, if we did 3, it's going to cost more, obviously now £300. Why don't we, as we've increased so many things in the park, why don't we just go for 2 this year in the summer holidays?
I agree with that.
But not charge.
Yeah.
Right, to support that.
What's everyone's view of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
What did you say the other one was, Peter?
Which
You
one?
would have one
700.
big day.
£710, that's for 5 hours including sports.
If you just had the one, as a mum,
Yes.
I would say please don't, because whenever you do the play days, it's always one of them somewhere away.
Adding the 2 together, I was thinking, okay.
So on that basis, are we, I'm not sure if hijacking Peter's bit here, but are we happy therefore to go for 2?
Propose, do you want to make that a formal proposal?
Yeah, are we happy to propose that we
Yeah.
have 2?
Well, I've proposed 2.
Yeah,
I'll second
without charging, that's
Yeah.
everything
I'll
we've
second
discussed.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you have a show of hands, please? Okay, that's
Are we going to decide on the date tonight as well, so we can get it done and dusted?
Shall I handle
No, I
that?
think we don't need to worry about that,
If
Peter.
I base it roughly on what we did last year,
Yeah.
I kind of spanned it
Excuse
across
me.
the beginning of August to end of August. I've got this. I'll have it anyway, actually. Just in case. Thank you.
Okay, next, agenda item is CTV and data handling policy, a freedom of information update. I'm not sure we need much to update on that. I know, but I don't think there's anything.
Okay.
So there's
We've
nothing more.
got a data handling
But I
policy.
have, but I haven't finished it.
Okay.
It's just about done. Yeah, it'll be done by then. The next point is
Just a quickie on
Go on,
that.
go on.
Did we decide about increasing the length of time we keep it for? I can't remember, I know we discussed it. Yeah, did we-
Footage. I spoke to them today, and
Yeah.
either I misunderstood, or it's a lot of it's to do with the broadband speed, but it's not 7 days. In fact, they've still got the footage from when it was first installed in October. Like 3 months of
great.
footage.
Oh, that's okay.
Now, what they've said is when we upgrade to fibre, which is happening next week, we won't have as much storage, because at the moment it's not downloading everything.
So it takes up more room.
So it will, yeah,
Okay,
there'll be
yeah,
more
all right.
data, so it won't be stored for as long, but he reckons it will still be weeks, if not months,
Oh, fine.
of footage that will be stored,
Okay.
which is enough, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I was just
Yeah.
concerned that 7 days wasn't enough, but
That's
if
7
it's
days.
going to be a month, that's
we
fine.
need to be
That's if
careful
you
not
have-
to hold too long.
If you have the 4 cameras, it's only 7 days, but we only have 1 camera.
Oh, brilliant.
So
Okay.
either I misunderstood or...
That's fine, yeah.
So
Thank
it's
you.
fine.
You want to take on that? The next item is the defibrillators, feedback on grant applications and discussion of the insurance. Who's handling that?
Say that we've got the charity funding through, so we'll finance one of the defibrillators. That's we've just had that through just before the Christmas holidays. The insurance package, I'm going to request that we move it on to the next meeting. I'm just waiting for an email to come back to clarify on the email.
Okay, so we're not agreeing that motion whilst that motion goes, isn't it? Okay. The next item on the agenda is Aston Brewery
Could we
2017.
slow down a bit, please?
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about that. My feeling is that if we're going to do it, we need to start now. Otherwise, it's not going to be a success. And that we really do need a committee. It's as long as a piece of string, this. If you want to make it a really big thing, then we will need funding. There's nothing in our budget. I've not allocated any of next year's budget towards an event like this. So it would be dependent on sponsorship and concessionary money from booze, food concessions and all of that for income. It could be very local, it could just be local groups like local choirs, the school choir, the military wives choir from Halton, that sort of thing, very homegrown, so that would be cheap. Or you could go bigger and you could have acts that you'd have to pay for, but then something has to pay for them. So there's ever such a lot to consider, and then but that's before you even get into technical, sound, lighting, and all of that, and whether and to charge, and if to charge, how to police the entrance and so on. So it is massive. Do we really want to do this? And if so, who's coming on the committee? I have some experience in the entertainment industry. I don't mind being on the committee, but as clerk, I don't have time to manage this, to event manage this. And Elaine and I just, you know, we wouldn't have capacity to do that.
So what's the general view of the council about whether we should hold an event like this?
I think it's.
Colin?
I think it's going to cost us. Even if we have it, I'm quite sort of, not my thing, but I'm quite keen on the local thing, as George suggested. I can see the appeal of that, which wouldn't cost as much. However, you've still got the policing, the advertising, and then you've got the dreaded clear-up, haven't you, afterwards, and what states the park can be left in with the best will in the world. I'm not saying people, you know, it just gets footfall, huge amount of footfall causes problems and expense for us. So is it something, as George said, that we need? Can we afford it? And my view would probably at the moment be no. But if someone said, yeah, we can stage this, it'll cost us not a penny, that's a different kettle of fish.
Could the, sorry, Colin.
No, I to a certain extent concur with that, but also aren't we in danger of conflicting with the beer festival, which has become more established? Not the Oak, but the Axel one. The Axel one. And to be fair, they have an enclosed environment. It seems to work perfectly. We have a huge open expanse, and just to even put that onto a secure footing, I think just the basic setup costs were going to be prohibitive. Unless a third-party events organiser takes it on and carries the risk of financial risk as well. I think it's too big a thing for us to be involved in.
Okay, Leslie?
Just come back to that one more thing. I think Western Turtle held one last year, did they not, in the rugby club, which was quite a big event as well, quite expensive to go. So you'd be competing with that as well, and that was big.
That's not the Forces Day, is it?
That's not Forces Day.
Yeah,
no, that's a national.
No, what I'm saying is it had the same effect of drawing people in there. There were bands, groups, all sorts of things in there.
It's massive, isn't it?
Yes.
They get quite named.
Yeah, so you would be you would compete with that. So another attraction that's close by. So.
The other thing is to start have a committee and they will decide if it's viable.
Leslie.
Okay, what I was going to say was, where's the idea come from? Is it something that prior to my arrival,
It was prior.
or was?
I don't think it's ever something we thought was a fantastic idea. I think it's something we thought was something we should be. Someone approached us, I think, and we thought we should consider it.
Was it to do with the Horticultural Society?
No.
Would they be prepared to run it? I mean,
It was that councillor,
that councillor.
Bucks councillor, wasn't it? That told us we were going to have one.
Is that why this is stemmed?
Yes,
Can you invite
that's
me?
exactly how it started.
Mike Collins of
That's the chap.
AVDC, who was our councillor on AVDC,
AVDC, sorry.
wanted to have
Summer Fair.
It was a tie-in with the horticultural event, which, as you know, happens anyway.
Okay.
It's going to be in the park next year, and he wanted us to hold a
This year.
fete.
This year, wasn't it? This summer, 2016.
I remember you deferring something.
And
so, okay.
we all felt that that couldn't be done,
Yeah.
and shouldn't be done for lots of reasons. And someone came up with the idea of doing our own thing the following year. The lead-in time for this year wasn't enough to do it properly, so we were looking at 2017, and we were looking at some sort of little music festival, but very homegrown.
That sounds quite sweet.
I say
but
music
not-
festival.
Not gigantic. We just don't have to.
What were you going to say, Paul?
Thank you, Chairman. It's not that great. The beer festival was held in the park 2 years ago, just to point that out. And I felt personally it ran better in the park. It was a warm day, the families all gathered and ran around all evening, and where the school is very enclosed, you can't go on the plaything because of insurance. And, so So I don't know why they switched to the school. Susie might know. But,
I can
There's a
imagine.
very good reason.
okay, go on.
No. What I wanted to say is only because it came up earlier. It's not a school event at all. It's nothing to do with the school. It is the local community charity centre. My understanding, it kind of moved to the school because of issues that were happening over here. Personally, as a parent, I prefer it there because my kids are enclosed and I don't have to worry about them running off and stuff like that. That's just my personal view of that. But what I was going to say before that was we've already got a community event because that is a community charity fundraising event.
True. But maybe the solution is actually to set up a subcommittee just to discuss it and see whether it's viable or not, rather than discuss it at length here, because I personally think it's a good idea.
But we've just done it, haven't we?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be you. I personally think it's a good idea if we can find someone to do it.
Perhaps we should have a talk with the people who organised the beer festival as to why they moved to the park, to the school.
I understand that was because the previous tenant of the pub was charging entry and before you bought the beer. That didn't go down particularly well.
No, I can understand that.
Yeah. So perhaps we should talk to them and explore what, because I think there is no scope within the area that we've got to go beyond it being a simple beer festival. That you can make it a village festival, because I think there's enough things with people like the Colts could get involved.
Sorry, I'm going to repeat myself again, but there are separate. There's the Colts Fun Day, there's the Village Market, there's the Beer Festival, all established annual events, and I think we're just crowding it. And it doesn't seem to me, looking around here, if you just actually said who wants to give this any further thought, if you put that to the vote, I don't think there would be many hands raised, and perhaps that's what we should do.
Propose a motion then, Toby.
Oh, well, I propose. Who would? I won't propose a motion. Nearly got me there, Colin.
Sorry,
trying to get me sacked.
You can test the water, but it can't be full motion.
No.
Full motion has to be put forward in advance.
But sorry, just to finish, does it really require a working party when we seem to have a lot of other things on our plate that have the greatest priority?
What's the general view? Is anybody actually interested in looking at this in more detail? Other than me, who would like to? James has done that before. You enjoy it.
I came to Fairford Leys where we started a fair in the square, and we got thousands of people coming every summer with their families. There was big wheels, rides, stalls, crafts. We've got a huge area here. We're very lucky as a parish council. I think someone's already mentioned that. We've got a massive asset at the park with the backdrop of Wendover Woods and the children. So we've got a huge space, and yeah, it will take a lot of organising an event or a big event on that space. But that was the whole point of. I think we were talking about 2017.
Yeah.
Just look into it. Yeah, if it's going to cost thousands, forget it. We can get sponsorship. Arla are just down the road, multi-million-pound company. Well, maybe they want to build bridges with the community. I don't know, but I'm just saying, for example. And there will be other firms that are moving into the area that I know of that may want to sponsor an event. So we could get a number of sponsors, Cars for Us or whatever they're called down the road. Might be, no one's explored it. So if it is going to be free, why would we not do it? And it's Fairford Leys, when we had the fair in the square, it brought the community together that nothing else all year round achieved at all. Everyone came to the event at some point during the day. They talked to each other, they had a beer, the kids loved it. It brings communities together. So for that reason, I think it's worth looking into. It doesn't cost us anything to look into it. If it's a no-goer and the council says it's a no-goer, that's democracy, that's fine.
Peter?
Yeah, a couple of points. Just pick up on what Paul has just spoken about, Arla in particular. I've already approached them for possible donations, reference to the children's play area, and basically it's a big no.
Really?
Yeah. When I spoke to the person concerned, I finally got hold of this lady rang me back and said, I was talking to her and she said Her exact words were, I only have £250 a year to allocate out to charities.
£250 a
Great
year.
CSR, isn't it?
That was her exact words. So obviously,
Me and Peter are sharing those meetings, aren't we?
Yeah.
We are our liaison meetings.
Yeah.
There hasn't been one recently, has there?
no, there's one this month, I think so. I think about one this month. But that was what she, and I was, obviously, two reasons. I was so flabbergasted I couldn't answer. And secondly, I couldn't say anything otherwise, could I? So I was very, very surprised and very disappointed. So you could certainly go back to them again with this view, whether that would change their idea or not. But the other thing they come up with, what they were looking at for this year, they were going to ask their workforce to basically go for 1.5 day a week to come out into the area to do community work. So instead of going to work down there, they would come out there. But you know, we could certainly go back to this lady again, who've got the name. But
Not very likely, does it?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I don't think they would change that. You know, everything's possible, but you know, they might do on a big occasion like that. But the other point is, if you're going to look into it, I'll do it with you then.
Okay, thank you. Cool.
Thank you, Chairman. Peter, was that the local office here, depot?
Yeah, I spoke to the contact. The lady's name is Victoria Walker, who's the liaison contact. I think obviously Carol knows her as well. And she directed me to this other lady. Unfortunately, I thought it was a gentleman at the time because the name was spelled Jaime. So I called her Jamie, but it's not, it's a lady. And
Never mind.
No. Okay, what do you find if in Thetford Leeds, we used to go to the co-op store there that made a fortune out of all the residents. You go in there and say, will you sponsor or provide prizes for the fair in the square? They say, sorry, we can't do that, or we can give you a packet of biscuits. Or, yeah, you go to the head office and you get a different answer. So that's not the head office for Arla, it's a distribution centre. So the head office, I think, is in Leeds for the UK.
yeah, they've got another place in Liverpool as well.
So if you're going to tackle a big corporate like that, you need to go to the head office. And Tesco's is exactly the same on Prebendal Farm. They had a little express shop. Will you donate to the Christmas fair for the kids? No. You know, we can give you, quality street box or whatever it is. When you go to Tesco's head office, you get a different answer. So
we've probably got guidelines, that's why.
Yeah.
So what's the
They
general
get begging
view?
letters.
So
Yeah.
don't make this too long. What's the general view that we should do? Have a
I think
Well,
we should explore it.
Explore, yeah. I'm quite happy to do it with
Can
you.
we have an informal vote on exploring?
Yeah.
Is that in favour?
Yeah.
That actually looks as other than Colin who's not talking.
Hang on, excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you, Toby. How's that pen? I thought I saw the pen with your hand. Okay, so we will take this offline then and discuss who wants to plan all of us in the words.
You and I can be the Grinch on the phone.
That's often Colin.
We'll mount you on the sledge.
Okay.
We've had a couple of offers actually. One lady has offered to get a children's entertainer for free. She does that for a living apparently. Russ Williams has also offered to help. He's in the entertainment business. So,
Well,
you know,
so I'm
there
a
are
sound
two
engineer who would
options.
probably sort it out for all the sound out project with South Big Bands near Newsletter.
Yeah.
So I know people we can sort of
We've
get
had
things
one or
from.
two quite nice offers, but there's still a hell of a lot of
There is.
talking
Anyway,
we have to do
I think we've agreed now that we will do something on this. We just need to establish something offline. We'll email around and work out who wants to be part of it. It doesn't have to be everyone. Get a small group and have a small meeting in the next month to decide if we're going to make it viable, if it's worth doing. Okay. So we're now on to the grounds maintenance subcommittee. Is that you?
Probably.
It's Alan, isn't it? No, it's Alan.
It's Alan. I know it's Alan. I'm giving you the chance to duck out if he wasn't ready to talk on his report and somebody else could talk in his place.
It's a very simple issue, and that is the grounds surrounding the two wooden bridges over the stream. Now, there was a quote done at the beginning of this year to sort them out. I didn't know that quote existed until recently.
Yeah, it was put in the plastic, wasn't it?
No, this is actually doing a proper job of digging it out, put in a proper basin. But to do the two bridges, yeah, you're talking an area, the one by the skate park, 5 metres by 5 metres on the on this side, and 20 metres by 2 metres on the far side, and that would be excavated to 11.5 centimetres, limestone scalpings.
That's round figure.
Yeah, well, all right. Let's keep it accurate, shall we? Lost it now. Sorry. 115 millimetres. Limestone scalpings, preformed plastic grids on the top of this area.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's one, yeah.
And an area on the far bridge of 3.3 metres, 3 metres squared on the field side, and 1.5 by 21 metres on the far side. And you're talking a figure of £5,600, which I don't believe we can afford.
How much?
5.5k.
Can I ask, at the moment, we're talking about the two wooden bridges.
Yes.
What state of repair are they in at the moment? Is it a case of we have repairs that are necessary on these bridges?
The bridges themselves aren't a problem.
It's the approach.
It's the
landing
approaches to the bridges.
Okay, and can I just add then on that, we were talking about limestone scalping, things
Yeah.
like that. If our thinking for the park as a whole is to try and increase access in the long term, and we've already got a path that's running around to the other bridge and things like that, I think any works that we consider should also have that kind of equal access thought about it as well. And I'm not sure that limestone scalpings either side of a bridge would necessarily support that access and ease of access.
I'm no expert, but don't they have this sort of like egg
Yes.
crate, and then the scalpings fill in the gaps, so
And
it's
then-
not proud of the surface.
And then the
So
grass grows into
it forms a frame, a grid.
Right.
So I don't think you're. I think we need to check it out.
Yeah,
My thought was,
whatever it might be.
is there an element of DIY available to this? Because we can get the material from King's.
You
Langley
could
comes to-
dose it in a huge amount of chippings.
But I mean, to do an element of what's been suggested, a
I
bit
don't
of bit of shoveling, and a bit of filling. You've got a lot of time on your hands, Councillor Reid.
Leslie.
Oh, seriously, I'm sorry.
The one that you and I went on our working party.
That's what we looked at, yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes.
And he'd already quoted on this.
Yes.
In April, whenever.
Yeah, a long time. We mooted it a long time.
Previous council.
No.
This council.
Yes.
Okay.
But
and it's £5.5
The thing is, if you look at them now, they are a sea of mud.
Oh, it's
they're dangerous.
Either side of the bridge. The bridge itself is okay, but of course it's getting covered in mud, which makes
Yeah.
it treacherous.
Yeah.
So, to my mind, there are only two fixes. One, you dose it in a huge amount of chippings in the winter, which will mulch in and reduce the mud, and it does go into the soil eventually, which will reduce it and maybe carry you through to the summer. Or you do a permanent repair, which is what we proposed in the first place, but ruled it out through cost. And I, voted against the precept going up, so I can hardly stand here now and say, well, I spent £5.5
Well,
on that.
I'd like to explore to see if there is another option.
Okay, fine.
And I think the state it's in is the state it's in.
It is.
And it's too late. We can't do anything to prevent it this year. What we need to do is look at if we can come up with a more cost-effective option to prevent it for next year.
Toby?
Okay.
My suggestion was a genuine suggestion.
Well, I don't dig it up.
Well, you're not working
No,
anymore.
but we are a village of 3,500 people. A lot of people have access to plant machinery. A community action type of event could be done for £1,500. That's just my thought. If we haven't got the money, let's get out there and dig ourselves.
Is that going to be viable?
I don't know. I don't know enough about that sort of thing.
But there are people I know
think
in this village that have got access to plant machinery, and if you scalp down 11.5 millimetres or centimetres or whatever it is, it's one man and a small digger, half an hour work. That's my thought.
I think it's probably a bit more than that.
So what sort of scope have Arla got for bridge building in their half days?
No, it's not a bridge. This is we are about to make a mountain out of a molehill. It's quite a simple procedure that we could actually deal with.
It's whether you can get the people to actually want to do it.
I'm sure we could.
Let's not
Ask the
I
question.
noticed that Western Turville, they've just done a car park at the cricket ground there, where they've actually laid a form of mesh, which they infill with scalpings or other things like that. And you need two things. You need the mesh to keep the surface together, and you need the infill. If you just put them either without the other, the one will disappear into the room. You'll never see it again. You need it to be done properly. I don't know about it, but it seems to be very effective. What
It
they've
is.
done there.
That's what we're talking about. It is expensive. This is the core quantity first.
So I think that we've got 2 points to the table here. We've got one that Alan goes away and gets alternative quotes.
Yeah.
We've got the second point, which is that we look at doing it ourselves in some way or other.
Either way, I don't think it's viable at this time of the year.
I'm not saying it has to be this time of year, but
But the motion was to
there are
agree whether to
options.
repair the two wooden bridges, not necessarily to repair at that cost. And the motion is to say to agree whether to repair the two wooden bridges.
Yeah, what was
But
the
we
cost?
need to make a decision of what we're going to do. Is we're going to get some more quotes and see if we can get it down to a much lesser cost, or go with Toby's view and see if we can get some volunteers to come
I'd
and
like
help.
to explore it further. And I'd actually take on well, Mike's comment that we in terms of what we're doing in the existing pathway, which actually worked out to be the cheapest option of all the ones that we looked at for the pathway, is whether that presents a potential for being done around by the bridges.
Or the block paving.
Yeah. That eventually may, nicely link up with what we've already got.
It'll give some continuity. It'll give continuity to our overall planning, enable us to extend the pathways, and if we do decide at a later date to extend the pathways further around perimeter and things like that, at least we'll have continuity as opposed to a patchwork of different services.
Well, I agree with
I'd like to explore that further.
Well, shall we therefore say that we're happy, subject to everyone else being happy with this, that we're happy that basically...
Yeah, lose the motion and get the park committee to have
and get some further quotes before we make the next decision, isn't it?
The thing is to agree to repair two wooden bridges. Is that in
It's not
that
the bridges
quote?
It's not the bridges themselves.
It's not the two.
Okay,
It's the
it's
description
just-
we need to
okay,
get right.
fine.
Motion failed, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, we
isn't
don't put the motion.
Just leave the motion behind, and just if you can get some more quotes for the next meeting, and then if we haven't, because we can't talk about it now anyway, and if we that's still coming in too high, I think we should explore Toby's option more. Is that a reasonable compromise?
Yeah, agreed.
Would the people that are putting in the Mugger thing for us at the moment have any ideas? Can they make any suggestions?
They're finished, they've gone,
Not
it's all
their field of
finished.
expertise anyway.
The mug was finished before Christmas.
They only do one thing, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they only do that, they literally...
The playground people.
Yeah, they're playgrounds only, they don't do anything else. Okay. Are we all happy with that? Any further points or comments on make? Okay, the next issue was our favourite topic, dog matters, with feedback on the changes to bylaws and dog bins. It seems discusses every single parish council.
That's almost every phone call I get.
I think that you circulated, Mike circulated something about the change to bylaws, didn't you?
Yeah, so one of the things we looked at, we talked about the ongoing issue with dog fouling and the measures that we can put in place, and not wishing to apply punitive measures and trying to give everybody equal opportunity to care after their dog one thing or another. And there does seem to be a bit of a recurring theme and potential that we have a number of people coming into the village, into the park space, to walk dogs in a professional context, emptying five or more dogs out of the back of the car. I witnessed this on a couple of occasions, walking them directly across both football pitches, up as far as the play area, and walking them back. Appreciate it was a wet day, but I'm sure that's not what the owners thought the dogs were being walked for. Clearly there is no way at all that a single individual can maintain eye contact with 5 dogs off of leads. And I had a conversation with a good friend of mine who is an animal behavioural expert, and she talked about the rules that they have in place around dog agility shows, which is not to do necessarily with controlling dogs, but is exactly to do with making sure that they're not pooping everywhere, and that is that they restrict the number of dogs that can be off a lead at any one time under the control of one individual. I looked at this a little bit further, and there are a number of councils in and around London, especially Wandsworth was one the example we gave, where they actually have imposed bylaws in terms of the number of dogs that can be walked off of a lead by a single individual at any one time. And we certainly weren't looking to try and make any sweeping motions or anything of the sort, but we were looking at investigating all sorts of alternatives to alleviating the problem of dog mess. And one of the things to consider further is whether or not we investigate the bylaw approach insofar as potentially restricting the number of dogs that should be off of a lead at any one time to give us some power to impose control. The other element to that is, of course, dog control. We're talking about increased usage, more children in the park, increased facilities, and one thing and another. And it ultimately comes then down to control of dogs as well. And whilst, I know members of the council have multiple dogs, as an example, but as a professional dog walker, one of the comments that was made by this animal behaviourist was that they do not have the same level of control of those dogs as if they were their owners. So the power of recall and things like that, especially if they're off the lead, is increased. And therefore the potential for the dog to be out of control is also increased. So it's really just looking at and exploring all of our options in this context, as opposed to going down a punitive route, so you want to slap you with a fine and do this, that and the other if your dog messes. I think we're taking a great pride in our village, and I'd like to think that the community as a whole take great pride in the village, and just the amount of dog messes being put in bins or around bins.
Colin?
When Mike's finished.
Yeah, is indicative of people are trying to do the right thing. So I think the more that we can facilitate and encourage that, great, but I'm not sure that everybody using facilities in the village and coming into the village necessarily has the same mindset.
Yeah, I agree exactly what Mike said. I feel we should explore the bylaw, no more than 3 dogs, I think is what we proposed, wasn't it? Or thought of.
3 dogs.
At this stage,
That's sort of vague idea that we came
that's
up
a
with.
vague idea.
3 dogs off a lead. You take 5 dogs.
That's right, yeah.
I'd also say further to that, having taken them a dog for a walk at night. Now, excuse me, I know there's a lot of people actually take their dog for a walk in the dark and let it off. Now, there's no way at night that you can.
No way you can see what
you
he's doing.
can skip the poo.
No.
So I propose further to that there should be something about nighttime restrictions on that bylaw as well.
Within the kind of bounds.
Yeah, within the park, yeah.
Okay.
And this also, as a matter of interest, there has been some altercations in the woods as well, which the Forestry Commission had, but that's still within our parish. And they've got some ongoing problems with people that walk up to 7 dogs off the leads there. Now, if we had a bylaw, that would also encompass part of Wendover Woods as well, which would help the Forestry Commission because they have problems with this, trying to enforce it.
No, I agree. I think we should explore it further. Anyone else got any further comments on that?
Thank you, Chairman. I think it's as already mentioned, the risk to children when they're off the lead and out of control. It's attacking other dogs. I've seen that in Milton Keynes with my own eyes the last couple of days, where a small dog was attacked by a bigger dog off the lead, apparently mauled it to death. So, we want sensible dog owners who've got common sense, clearing up their mess, got the dogs under control. That's great. It's a great big space, it's wonderful, but if they're not under control, then there's huge risks, as Mike said. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Okay, any other points? No? Okay, so I think the answer is to proceed our investigations and see what we can come up with for a further meeting. The second point on this is actually dog bins. I think the clerk mentioned that in her report that there's now a questionnaire on our website.
Yeah.
Where the village can decide whether they want them sited. We've agreed we want to put, I think, 2 more dog bins.
Correct.
But we've also decided we'd like to know where the village would like them. Susan?
Can I just suggest you put it in the Friday flyer as well, the school?
I've done it.
Excellent.
Should be going in this week.
So any points about the dog bins?
I think the other item that I think we already discussed also, or I mentioned previously, was investigating the collection at the moment and comparing costs outside of the DC options. given that we are increasingly needing these to be emptied.
Okay. Okay, any other points on dog matters? No? Okay, we'll move on to the next point, which is the proposal to revise the burial fee for the parish.
Sorry, there was other grounds matters. Can I just raise a point then? Am I on the red? I'm on this month.
Go anyway, I don't know where you are, but yes.
Does say grant.
Yeah.
I've got other grounds matters, sorry. I don't know why I've got a different version.
I haven't got that one, but anyway. No, why? Yeah, but go on, Toby, I'm sure it's only right, so please raise it.
You're under revised, I'm afraid.
I'm not volunteering to repair the fitness trail, but please the clients, whilst congratulating us for the improvement by the addition of a mugger, whatever people want to call it, but somebody made, I think it was online, a reference that the great news, the mugger is brilliant, however the trim trail is looking a little tatty. And I suspect that now everybody's got their New Year's resolutions in place, they're all visiting it real regularly, and it's going to get even tattier.
What happened to your roof?
Are there any plans for maintenance for? I have to say, having not been around the trim trail that recently myself, I don't know what the extent of the problems are, but
it was just 2 poles, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they've been reinstated.
That was, as far as I know, that was all that was.
Yeah, it was critical.
Does it form part of our inspection?
Occasionally. I'm due to do the
Sorry,
playground
should it?
Once a month.
Fine, okay.
Yeah, I'm due to do the playground park inspection this week. I haven't done it yet, but I will do it, and when I do that, I'll walk around. I'll take the dogs and I'll walk around and see.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'll go and have a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
You realise you have to test each piece of equipment?
I'll get Miranda to do it. It's fine. a fitter 16-year-old rather than an unfit X-year-old is better. Anyway, the next item, as I said, is the revising of burial fees. And we circulated a paper on this a couple of days ago. As the paper says, we set up a working party with me, Leslie and Jill, spoke to the vicar, looked at other various cemeteries in the area, and it's clear that our fees are, as you can see from this paper, are the highest in the district by quite a considerable amount.
Does anyone need a copy of Lizzie's?
And so, having discussed it at some length at a working party meeting we had, we suggested that the fees be revised and they become much more consistent and easy to understand. On that basis, we suggested a burial was 400, a monument was 200, a cremation plot was 150, and cremation plaque was 100. It's simple, and no other fees. Whereas we have all sorts of odd fees at the moment, which they'll just go. And it makes our fees in line. It's slightly more expensive than the Church of England fees, but we have to do the maintenance, obviously, of the churchyard, so it's to cover the maintenance costs. So that was basically the working party proposal, also goes this paper. So the motion for tonight is to agree those revised fees. But also before we move to that motion, has anyone got any comments or thoughts? Mike?
May I ask in my ignorance, are there any restrictions on who may be buried in the churchyards?
Yes.
So it is.
If they haven't been resident in the village, I have to get the permission of 3 parish councillors. We have had a couple of those this year, actually. I mean, it's nearly always given because there's nearly always a connection with the village.
That was my question was really leading to if we become far more competitive than other competing cemeteries, was there a risk of increased requests? So the demand for a whole
the proposal of the piece, I don't think that's a problem at the moment.
Sorry,
we're not going to be more competitive than anyone else.
No, because it's still more expensive than the Church of England, but it just brings ourselves more in line with other people, and it's cheaper than Aylesbury Cemetery, yes, but I think we are a parish council, and we can, as it has to be people, should be people that have the connection to the village or live in the village, and I don't think we're going to have people coming from the other side of Aylesbury to be buried here, so I don't think that's a particular issue. Got to speak to the comments, Colin, I think.
Yeah. How much would this translate into loss of income? How many people were buried last year?
Not many.
We know? Not many.
About four, yeah.
Just on the proposals there, is there any mention of a revision to the second burial, or is that So the double plots, speaking from personal experience, I've said with grandparents who've purchased double plots, if you like, and then the sizing and things like that not being maintained. So I see at the moment on the list we have a second burial and double grave 310. Is that intended to remain as is? Under the recommendations, I just don't see anything.
Well, the point for me was to just get rid of it completely, not to have a second charge.
What about where you have a double plot?
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, the double plots is what I was referring to. So where they are.
You must have a charge, surely, if you want someone buried in
800.
Well, got to be double the single burial.
Well, that's what I'm saying is there.
It's just in advance. Those plots need to be agreed in terms of size, scale, and things like that.
Okay, I'm happy to. We can add an extra for a double plot to be a double the single plot price. I have no issue with
At the
that.
moment, it isn't.
It is half though.
Yeah, it's half
It's
as
half.
much again, isn't it?
It
We're not
is.
a double decker.
Well, it is about the depth, isn't it? As much as anything else. The depth.
Yeah, you've got the first one down.
I think that's what they call it. Is that
The reason I didn't the reason I didn't put anything in my paper is because nobody else charges for second burial.
No charge?
No.
But the actual plot itself has to be done deeper in the first instance.
Yeah, but there's no charge. Other people don't charge. So
But I think the only risk that if we don't mention it is that we then ask to top up double deckers. If it's not expressed as at the outset that this is intended to be a double plot, then
it won't.
Then yeah, I think it won't necessarily be
well,
done.
I'm happy to take a proposal on that. If you think it should be £200 for the additional cost, or 800 for a double plot, I don't have a particular problem with that.
Go to half as much again.
Oh, okay, so okay.
I agree with that.
Amended.
Cool.
Thank you, Chairman. Just on the burial plots, are we near capacity? We've got loads of space. Is it going to last another 56? Sorry? Because we're
good to go.
Just want to make sure I'm going to get a plot. Because obviously the village is going to increase potentially 40-50% in size.
The big demand at the moment is for cremation plots.
Yeah.
Rather than
People aren't burials aren't very popular anymore.
Okay.
Can't afford it.
Yeah, too
Well,
expensive.
let's make it slightly more affordable.
No, go the other way.
No. And our fees are unbelievably complicated at the moment. So the proposal is if these fees get accepted, we then rewrite the leaflet, which is very difficult to understand, and we then contact the various funeral directors and explain to them how our fees work. We have had issues with funeral directors about our fees in the past.
I think that there needs to be a complete review of. I mean, we're not sure who does the sextanting over there, are we? Like, the holes just appear. Who organises it? Who pays for it?
Once we've got this document in place, my intention is to forward it to all the funeral directors and say, this is how it has to be from now on. That they can't. What happens now is they ring me up and tell me what's happening.
We can
We
take
have
control.
to flip that
We
around
can try,
now. That
yeah.
they come to us and they're supposed to ask permission. They never do. For to bury. So we have to flip it round to that.
So we're going to try and take, as part of this process, a much tighter control on the whole thing, and contact all the relevant people and tell them this is how it's
This
going
is
to be.
really the start of a process towards doing that.
Any other
Where's the drink coming?
Has anyone else got any other comments on this paper or the proposal? Okay, so can we then propose a motion that the cost that I've outlined in my paper be agreed with the addition of an extra £200 for a double plot?
I'll propose it.
Any second? Show of hands for being in favour or not? Okay, yeah.
So I didn't see who seconded.
No. Okay, thank you very much. We now come to the next agenda item, which is the Community Centre Subcommittee table.
Yeah. Looking at the correct agenda, the lease, the lease update. There is not an update, which is particularly embarrassing, and some stern words will be had tomorrow with the chosen solicitor who knew we were meeting tonight and failed to provide an update.
Did he even reply to your
No,
email?
didn't respond.
Absolutely shocking.
The great thing is that we have a very compliant tenant who could walk out on us tomorrow if they wanted to. I don't think they will, but we'll all be a lot more comfortable when the document is agreed and signed by both parties. So I will deal with that tomorrow, and I'm going to set a target no more than 10 days in which to get it finalised and signed. It's been going on long enough. So the good news is that they continue to thrive, and I think over the holiday period I popped in there a couple of times and they seem to be busy throughout the day. I think they've put a lot of effort in, particularly through the provision of the soft play.
Yeah.
And it's, as you said earlier on, Mike, it's income to the council. 10% of every cup of tea, coffee, sandwich comes to the council. And I think it's a great success so far. So once we've got them tied in, and don't forget they are our caretaker tenant whilst the bigger picture is evolved. We had some great news on that confirmation on Monday from AVDC that our application for the New Homes Bonus Grant has been agreed in full. So we will be getting £500,000 towards the pavilion project. That represents probably about a quarter of the budget cost. There's a lot more work to be done on the design. We had a rush to comply with the 30th of September deadline, so the plans and the costing was done quickly but thoughtfully. The next stage will be to sit down with the architect to see if any revisions are necessary, then want to expose the plans and the designs to the village as a whole for consultation and review, and then we can bring those. The idea is not to rewrite or replan, but actually to sort of get a tacit approval to the elements and then go forward to work out in a small working group where the balance of the funding will come from. And that, I think I've mentioned at previous meetings, the initial budget came out at something like £2.3 million. Sounds a lot of money, but it's about 2.5 times the size of the current building. It's going to be multifunctional. And we have visibility of currently 51% of that cost from not only from the New Homes Bonus but the various Section 106 monies that we together have agreed would be allocated to the project. So it sounds like a mountain to climb to find £1 million plus, but there are ways of doing it, and we will be looking at that. The important thing is to maintain a momentum, not only for the village but for the whole of the process. There is a 2-year time limit on that £500,000 grant, but they will entertain extensions to that deadline. So it's quite good to have that as a backstop. We always said when we sat down in whatever it was June last year that we would like to deliver it during 2017, and I think that we should still maintain that target.
I agree. Colin.
Arla's 250 should go a long way towards that.
I think it was 250,000, wasn't it, Peter?
I wish it was.
They're going to supply the milk and they're going to get that. Milk in the tubes.
6 months is up now regarding the turnover rent, so how do we want to go about meeting their accounts?
It's an audit process, so that they've given us informal, in our updates that Elaine and I had, they've given us informal monthly figures. They now need to document that, have it signed by their accountant. Again, they are doing that in goodwill because they don't have a lease to follow at the moment. So they do, but they're not binding. So
do you want me to?
Then I'll deal with them. That's fine. Any other questions on that?
Is the proposal for the new building, is it going to be run by the council, or will we have contractors?
There will be a variety of methods that we can explore. The idea is to absolve ourselves from the management headaches that would bring about. Have a principal tenant in a similar way to what we currently have with the cafe. It may not be them; they have no first right of refusal. But there could be an organisation that operates. It could be, but the structure would involve some sort of charitable status for the council, and then a principal tenant that would be an umbrella and then be responsible for managing, booking, charging rent for all the various aspects.
But
and
that
rooms.
does all have to be agreed by the council first.
Yeah, I mean,
There's only ideas and then...
we've got to put a business plan together for the next stage. It was sort of just tick the first phase to get that lump of money. It's work in progress.
Any other points for Toby? No. Okay, thank you very much, Toby. We come to the end of our meeting, but as we know we don't have to, as we do allow limited public participation. So is there any comments again from members of the public that are here?
Just one question, and that's on the community centre, depending upon X106 money. Doesn't that highlight some sort of conflict of interest in that the more developers move in, the more money is available? You are going to benefit from it, and yet we are, as a village...
No, can we just make a point? Yeah,
No, because I'm seeking clarification.
It's a if you like, a quid pro quo. It's a softening of the blow. Section 106 money, by virtue of what it's meant for, is to benefit the community.
Yes.
We as a council debate the allocation of that. We've been party to some of those discussions. I think the last discussion was had the Chapel Drive money, which was a sum of something like £280,000. It was felt by the council that the priority was to allocate that to the pavilion.
And of course,
I'm not disagreeing with your statement, but it
wasn't even a statement. It was seeking clarification.
And I think the thing, I mean, we have little choice. I mean, we've opposed the majority of developments in the village anyway, as a parish council, not all of them, but the majority. But then, whether we oppose or not, if it still gets past AVDC, we should obviously take the opportunity to do something that's the benefit of the community. And it's not the benefit of this parish council. We're not building a community centre for anyone other than the village.
I appreciate that, but it takes the weight out of your opposition if you could be thinking another way. Cool.
But then we have to, but the money gets to us anyway. So I mean,
we don't.
That's what built the play area. So we have to we have to take the money. We have to allocate it somewhere. So why not allocate it to something that's a benefit for the whole community?
Can I also make the point? Sorry,
to
finish that. We are not the decision makers on the planning applications.
No, I do appreciate that, but it does just leads a question in my mind. You ought to have, like the tax, an inspector's department and a revenue department, separate, and they look after each other. Or sorry, they look at each other. Just a thought.
I can tell you, Keith, that when the planning committee meets, we do not take into account 106 money coming to the council whatsoever.
But it's never known. It's never known.
No.
At that stage of application,
it does not influence our decision. We do not think 50 houses, 250 grand.
No, I'd like to think that's the case.
It is the case.
It's a temptation, isn't it?
No.
Temptation to who?
We've opposed every bill.
Can I also make the point that any meeting that those subjects are discussed is open to the public, and you can come, and anybody can come along and keep an eye on us if you feel that's necessary. You're very welcome.
Reassurance was sought.
Yeah, I'm coming back to Aston 17 or so. You mentioned the Horticultural Society as a very strong committee member of the Horticultural Society. A little bit of history in that we've had a show on the third Saturday in August for years and years and years. It used to be in the park, and then we went a couple of places, ending up in the school, where we did also run a fete, and that the music included the silver band, which was free for people to listen to, very gentle sort of silver band, not a music festival by any means, but we had a number of side shows, and we did have a number of stalls, a lot of them local charities, like the church and the Baptist church and other people came and ran stalls. And we came over here partly because the organisation was getting a bit too much for us over there, so we sort of abandoned that. But Mike Collins suggested that he could perhaps take on some of that sort of, he would like to have a go at organising something of that sort, but I don't think he was thinking of a Desert Great music festival.
I'm not sure we know what we're thinking exactly yet either. We're thinking of
Right.
But
if you want, you know, in your subcommittees or group things with exploring this, if you want to come and talk to the Horticultural Society or me, you're very welcome.
thank you very much. Thank you. Any other comments on the budget? Okay. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the date of the next meeting, which must be the 3rd of February. Is that right?
So it's Wednesday.
3rd of February?
First Wednesday in the month.
Third.
3rd, isn't it? Is it 3rd?
Third.
Yeah.
That's all.
7:30.
I think we can declare this meeting closed.
Thank you, everybody.